what I realized when I was conceptualizing this business, there's really nothing out there that speaks quality when it comes to spices and spice blends and herbs that will accelerate the taste of your food back home. I think the most important thing for us really is to bring family back home.
Welcome to the Payo E-commerce Academy podcast, where we help you with your e-commerce journey. Here is our host, Althea.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Pio E-commerce Academy podcast. You're back with me, Coach Altea, to tackle a new topic today. So for today, we actually have a very special guest. We'll get to know more about her business and also what tips she has for fellow entrepreneurs like her. Everyone, please welcome Miss Cheska Gallegos from Reqado. Hello, Miss Cheska. Nice to meet you and thank
Hello.
you for joining us today.
Yes, it's a privilege to be here.
Right. And we're just so excited to have you on, and we're sure that you have a lot of things to share. So let's dive straight into it. So can you first give us like an overview of your business? Like who is Ricardo? What is it? So like just so our viewers know and understand.
So Reqado is actually born from an idea, which is really creating food that makes you want to come back home. So it's required add-on, similar to probably the ones that you see at the grocery store to spice up your food by using different kinds of single origin herbs or spices like rosemary, oregano, thyme, and all that. So what I realized when I was conceptualizing this business, there's really nothing out there that speaks quality when it comes to spices and spice blends and herbs that will accelerate the taste of your food back home. So when you think of Recado, actually, it's a short form of required add-on, right? Kaya Recado. But it
Ah,
also
it's
is
wordplay.
yeah, it's a word play. And also in Spanish, it's actually to add on, right? Recado with a K, no? So it was really born by the idea that I've been cooking. I'm a chef, a culinary graduate. And what I love doing really is to uh make different kinds of dishes but add my twist to it. And spices and herbs, especially combining them, also becomes an elevator of taste. But you can because of that you'll reduce the use of MSG. Actually, I don't use MSG and use of salt. So we started in 2019 and literally it was homemade first until I ended up making it a big production. So I have a production in Rizal, and then I have you guys as my full career business, which is Pio. So that's really the concept of the business. It's really to bring back. I think the most important thing for us really is to bring family back home. Because everybody loves eating out, and when you do eat out, unfortunately in some restaurants, they put MSG. Side story lang, no, I actually have allergies sa MSG. Some people nahihilo. Akin talaga, I really don't feel good after. So that's also the other reason that I created something like this that I've been doing for a long time until I turned it into a business. So that's the backstory of Ricardo and why Ricardo was born. It was really, for me, it was a solution to the pain I've been experiencing about eating something that has MSG. I also want to avoid salt, but I also love to elevate food in my home and my home cooking. And being culinary really makes it really an adventure for me to actually try something really different.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's so nice how you actually have a background in culinary arts, because you know that you really understand like flavors and the spices. And like correct me if I'm wrong, but the blends that you do, is it more like what you said, right? You kind of want to bring the family back in terms of like, eating at home, eating together, because a lot of people eat out now. So are your flavors primarily or like heavily inspired by Filipino like flavors, would you say?
Cuisine. That is a good question, no? So the answer is no. Um,
Mm.
Not really. When I say no, not really, for the barbecue blend that I created. So there are two types of products that I carry. One is actually my blends. So you call it blend, similar to blended coffee, right? The ones that you mix different kinds of beans. The same thing with the spices and herbs. When you blend it together, then you call it blends. And then of course you have the I have the other one, other product line which are all single origin. Yung singular lang siya. You have the rosemary, thyme, garlic, onion powder, etc. So the blends in itself, to answer your question, the barbecue spice there is very similar to the barbecue that you buy dyan sa labas, no, na niluluto. So may konti lang siyang anghang with a little bit of twist of the cumin and a little bit of the Middle Eastern effect, but not too much. It's still mostly Filipino. Now the other ones that I have na talagang Filipino is the sweet, salty, and spicy. Na gumagawa ka ng, kung gumagawa ka homemade ng tapa, which I love, right? So yan yung medyo Filipino. Otherwise, the other ones are really cuisine based. So I have Greek blend or Greek lovers. I have Italian lovers, garlic and rosemary. These are all inspired by different regions in the world or different countries in the world, especially like curry lovers, no? One of the best selling also of our blends because it marries the curry Indian taste, the Thai, and the Malaysian. Definitely not Filipino. So when you taste it, it's really different.
Great. I think that's even better because you can cater to different cuisines, different tastes. I mean, taste is subjective, so
Yes.
people have different palates. So it's actually really interesting how you have
Mm-mm.
something for everyone, basically.
Yeah,
And
especially for those who are in love with like Italian food. I have the Italian lovers, those who love to make pasta on a regular basis because this is another bestseller that we have.
great.
So
And you
yeah,
did mention as well that you don't use MSG in your products.
no, definitely not. And here's the truth there. Of course, MSG makes it really umami, right? So it's the easiest way to make an umami recipe or food. However, again, it has an adverse effect on some people. Again, it's already been proven that there's really no bad health benefit, but again, depends on who's the expert speaking now. For me, my reaction to it is I really get groggy and dizzy, and so I really created a set of spices that will hit all the flavor notes that will create an umami taste in the end, right? Kasi pag nakompleto mo yun, if you completed that set of flavor tones, you will end up still having an umami taste without using MSG. So
Great.
that's very
Okay.
that's very important.
Yeah, it's so interesting hearing about your products. It's like right after this, I want to go straight to your website and see the different blends you have and spices. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for giving the audience an overview of your business. Can you share a bit more about what strategies you've been using to thrive in e-commerce, especially now post-pandemic?
Yes, actually, it's been a great ride though, especially during the first few years of Reqado. It was actually at the brink of the big pandemic. In fact, we started in September of 2019. So by 2020, yun na. We are in the pandemic period in March. So 6 months pa lang siya, it's already in that period. So e-commerce became a very lucrative I didn't even realize it, no, na I can create something like this in time for pandemic because it was such a big help for me using Shopify, yung e-commerce. And because the orders were coming so much, people were cooking at home. I know for you guys who've been through it, right? We've been creating or at least back burner skills natin or wants to be or mga aspirational skills that we wanted to do. We started doing
Right.
in the pandemic, may gardening, and then there's cooking, there's baking,
Yeah,
etc.
especially if it's like something at home lang.
Correct. And so it boomed, no? We were so busy during the pandemic catering to all the orders, and with Shopify and e-commerce system that it actually brought in, it became my life became very easy for me to manage all the orders and fulfill those orders. So thankfully we had that. But Even at that point in time, nag-shift din ako ng career service, and that also helped a lot. So, but in the field of e-commerce, without Shopify, I don't think I will be able to cater to the orders that I was getting during that period. Now, post pandemic, it's a different story altogether. Because my first 6 months was really pandemic period, and then 3 years of pandemic, or 2.5 years of pandemic, with a slow burn of the opening and closing of the cities, or the country. The sales that, or the revenue that I had experienced in the first 2 years, nagpa-fluctuate na. So it became very difficult, or challenging, to me, or to manage the business, with the kind of sales that we did during the pandemic, or the peak of pandemic. So I used Shopify, and this is why I'm I'm only missing one step, which is to be a shareholder of Shopify. But I think that's going to be my route, because without the analytics of Shopify, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now, in keeping up with my sales. As an example, we used the data analytics of the most selling product, or selling blend, or particular product that people really buy a lot. I also looked at which one is not sellable during this period na. And then of course the single origins na hindi na rin. So I started really understanding which one that I can sell more, which one I need to push marketing, and to be able to sell more of those products. Kasi I have inventory. So the inventory side became important for me to really hone down, and with the reporting and data analytics of Shopify, I was able to do that. Think the second one that I'd like to mention, why it became successful. There's the customer data that's also in Shopify. So I'm able to understand demographics. I'm also able to understand my loyal customers and what they normally order. So I always reach out to them. I have very high engagement with my clients and my customers. So I always ask how they're doing, what else we can do to be able to help them, create really amazing magical dishes at home. So sometimes I send them really gift packs, just to say thank you to them, because they've been a loyal customer to us. And without Shopify data, and without that information handy and immediate to me, it will be very difficult to just manage the business with Excel, right? Where other businesses are doing it na Excel sheets lang and all that, managing their
Everything manual.
and manual. No, I cannot imagine Reqado being in that situation. Really, that's the benefit I have in using e-commerce. I love it. I promote Shopify to all of my clients and friends, because I think it's the best way really to manage your business, especially if it's retail.
Right. And I think what my takeaway from what you've shared is that really online sellers should leverage like the tech that can really make things easier for them.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like you said, like in Shopify it takes a few like clicks, right, to build your own
Mm-hmm.
site and like to start selling. So I feel like it's also yung discarte and how you sell online. And I really like what you mentioned where you came across certain challenges but you were able to kind of pivot and like solve them. Actually, that was going to be my next question, like asking you about challenges, but like is are there any other challenges that you want to talk about, or was it just mostly what you mentioned earlier?
No, it's not so much the challenges. I think as a business owner, and looking at the health of my business, without numbers and without data, it's very hard to decide what's the best approach when you're faced with multiple economic changes. Like in this case, the sales went down. To go and use a manual data seen in Excel or in some other format that you're using, it will be difficult to really one provide give you a best decision or a best route in terms of what you see. Two, you will spend so much time trying to dig in and create your own kind of reporting and analytics, which again, from a business owner, you don't have time, because your time is precious to actually make a sale. So you'd rather spend the time selling versus trying to analyze your data. And third, even if you have people around you who sees that Excel sheet, it's a different thing if I, as the owner, get to see how the numbers are progressing. And with Shopify, with that click of a button, I can use the different formats there to understand what's going on. Immediately, I can make decisions and pivot. And I think that's the clear thing, Althea, that one, because of the ever changing time and my timing, Ricardo's timing is exactly within the pandemic and then post, pivoting was the most important thing to do. Like what you said, pivoting is one of the key things you picked up, because it is, as a business owner in a small company, like us, being flexible, using data to understand what you need to do to make a sound decision, because you see the data in front of you so quickly, you will be able to survive, and sustain your business better than those who are doing it manually.
True. And honestly, like, I'd just like to applaud you on that. Like, it really seemed like, you were faced with something like a challenge, but it didn't scare you. In fact, it like encouraged you to, again, pivot and like, be more innovative. So yeah, it's really nice hearing that. In terms of milestones that Ricardo has achieved the past few years, would you like to share any?
Yeah, actually, we have been given to so many awards. I think this is the third time we got an award for the best bottled product. There's a group, or a group that actually looks at this in the marketing space, an association that looks at this, and they have given us multiple awards. Parang every year na halos eh, for the best bottled product, best bottled quality product. So they've given us multiple stars for the quality of product that we sell. The other one, I think, and that is a prestige, I guess, but while I am excited to be recognized, it's not as much as my happiness being recognized by our customers. I have one particular story that I will never forget. So I had a client earlier on, I think 2021 pa, 2020 pa lang siya, the start of our company, and she said, my daughter is allergic to most of the spice blends, and I cannot even make anything that will not. There's some health condition, no, it's allergic to everything, and she cannot make anything out of just table side or things that she buys. So she called me to say, are you sure that this is good for my daughter? Is it all natural? Are you really sure there's no MSG? Because they have already said that you most likely it's MSG, but there are other components that her daughter is allergic to. And she tried it, said, with your doctor's advice, try our chicken fry lovers. It's an alternative to a fried chicken recipe that you see in the grocery stores. The coating that you use. Don't want to name any of my competitors, but similar. I said, I promise you, there's no MSG there, and try it. So for now, 5 years, I think, yeah, 4 years, she's been ordering that for her daughter, and that's the only thing that her daughter loves to eat now, yung fried chicken na ginagawa niya. And I think stories like that is happening every time. Our clients are calling to let us know that they are very happy because they don't have any adverse effects on using that, and they're avoiding salt more. I have a client who's also in the senior age, and she said, I've been looking for something because she has a lot of health conditions also. And she tried this and it helped her a lot. And in fact, she barely uses salt now. She uses all my spices for most of her cooking. If at minimal, it's going to be the garlic lovers, she will use it so that she avoids using salt. So that those stories are the ones that I would say makes me very happy, because this is a passion business. I've turned it's still somewhat my hobby, because I don't necessarily see this as a major part of my business week or hours, because I just love making good food for people, and stories like that makes me excited to create even more, the stories of our customers.
Right? And that's amazing because like your products, they really affect someone's quality of life because again, like what you said, not everyone is like, allergic to MSG or has certain allergies to food, but there are people who do. And,
Yes.
it's nice that there are products like yours in the market that really offer them an alternative that's also yummy and, it's aligned with their needs. So, yeah, that's really nice to hear. Those stories are very heartwarming.
Yes, and I also wanted to highlight, no, the price point that we have is also not expensive, because that's the other thing I was worried about when I launched my products, that it is something that people can buy, regular people can buy. It's not really catering only to those who has more I would say economic power to do it. I wanted everybody to be able to afford it as much as they can. So even the 150 milligram size of bottle is somewhat about 220 pesos, but that can be used in maybe around 20 dishes at a time. So, and it can last 20
Wow.
2 years. So it's really very cheap compared to a very small one at 30, 40 grams at about 70 pesos. Yun lang yung makukuha mo dun sa very small containers. And, I wanted again to make sure that this is accessible to Filipino household easily. And we, like with Payo, again, we're able to, ship it across the country. And in fact, I do have clients abroad. So we that's the plan, is actually to globalize the company, and also be available in groceries. So I'm just getting myself, deep into my my capital to be able to do that. But that's really the long-term goal, that will be available to grocery stores across the country, as well as being globally available as well.
Very exciting news. And I feel like once you guys hit the shelves, again, it's going to be a good alternative to the other things that we see in the market today.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So I think we already touched on this actually, but I'll ask it anyway. Can you just emphasize on what you believe makes Reqado different from your competitors or unique?
Yeah, the unique things about Reqado is, first, it doesn't have MSG. Second, it's all natural. And third, the price point is also not very expensive. It's available online, and it can be shipped to you to your doorstep. You don't have to even go out, like in other brands that you have to go to the grocery store. So for me, what is also unique about this is the blends that we have. You won't see that in the grocery store either. There's something close, but not that close. Like, for example, you have Italian lovers, which is probably similar to Italian seasoning, but there's a twist to it. There's more that you will get from our blends. Similar to Cajun lovers who loves Cajun dishes, something really more spicy, something more smoky. Then you have the Cajun lovers that we have. Again, it has a twist, so it has a Middle Eastern twist to it. So you can try that too. So for me, those are the four key things that makes Reqado very different, and also uniquely, I would say, available, especially to those who are concerned about their health. Because with this, you can avoid using salt as much. That's going to
Yeah.
be very helpful for you in your household, keeping your family healthy.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's like the more I learn about your products, the more I'm starting to question the things in my pantry. So, yeah, I think I will definitely check it out.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, so do you have any tips for aspiring entrepreneurs or people who are new to business, especially for those who like you kind of just for example, they have a passion that they want to turn into a business. Like what would your tips be?
Oh, thank you so much for that. It's an excellent question. There's so much to share, especially I've been doing this for now a few years, and run a lot of international businesses as well. I think the first part is, you must love what you sell, right? Whether that's a product or a service, you have to love it. You must love it, and it cannot be something that I just want it. Yung ganon. My friend told me that this is nice. Okay, I'll start selling it. It has to be deeper than that, and the reason is, you will face challenges. You will face a lot of tribulations, and if you don't love what you're selling, or your your product or your service, you won't sustain the company, and it's a waste of time. Eventually, it's not just a waste of time, but waste of money. If you do something you don't love and you just follow the trend or follow a person that is doing it, passion becomes a really relevant piece of a business owner's success. And passion comes from loving what you're selling, whether that's a product or a service. So that's my first tip. And two other tips. The second tip is know your numbers. Know how much you have coughed out. Track all of that. Track your inventory. Track your raw materials. Track everything as much as you can, because the more you know your financials and your standing, then you'll be able to make the right decision to expand your business. Without knowing those numbers, your business will suffer, right? You can't be a business owner without knowing your numbers. And that's the failure of most small businesses today. The third, an important piece, remember to stay connected with your customers. They're the ones who sustain it. No, it's not about the product or the service. It's also knowing your end in mind, a problem that you're trying to solve for them. For me, the problem I solve for myself is a problem that a lot of you are experiencing: allergies with MSG, or just really not wanting to be unhealthy using MSG. But again, there are other scientific records that or reports that says it's actually okay. But again, with the ongoing battle between whether MSG is healthy or not, it's better to still stay with something natural, right? So have strong connections with your customer, and they will tell you a lot of information that you need in order to also make the right decision for your company. Without them, you won't survive, and without their feedback, you won't be sustainable either. So those are, I think, the three very important pieces for me and what I learned doing this business: your passion, your numbers, and your customers.
Right. And I completely agree. I feel like if you're, especially if you're starting a business, so first of all, you mentioned passion. Of course, that's necessary. But the second point of knowing your numbers, at the end of the day, it's still a business. So you really have, you can't like run it on passion alone. And then the third one is really good as well, because it kind of answers the question, what pain point are you solving, and how are you gonna offer this product or this service to others? So yeah, I think those are really good tips.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it worked for me. I learned it the hard way. So it's best to always teach you guys, teach the ones who are listening here right now, things that made my life hard, but I have solved, and hopefully you don't create or make the same mistakes that I did.
Right. Okay, Cheska, thank you so much for joining us. It was such
Of
a fun
course.
discussion. It was such a pleasure getting to know you and your brand. And honestly, I'm sure that our listeners got like good tips as well from what you've shared. So before we end the podcast, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yes, if you'd like to order Reqado, please go to www.recadoph.com. It is powered by Shopify and Payo, who's hosting the call today. And as well as, you can also reach us through Facebook with Reqado Philippines and IG Reqado Philippines. So see you there. I'm also very much available to you if you have questions. Just chat away. In fact, it's most likely me who will reply, or some of my team members, but I always want to be close to you guys. So let me know if you guys have questions. And happy eating, everybody, because that's what we love to do as Filipinos. So try Recado Philippines, and I hope it meets your expectations and ensure that your family comes home to a good meal.
You heard it yourselves, guys. So please check out Reqado. As Cheska mentioned, they're basically everywhere. Website, you can check their socials, and if you have any experiences with them, if you want to share your Reqado experience, feel free to comment them, or even reach out to her. I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Cheska, for joining us for today's
Thank you.
episode. And that's it. This episode is done. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us for another episode. And we hope to see you in the next one. Remember to stay tuned to more Payo E-Commerce Academy podcast episodes. Bye.
Bye.